And now, the Rock Newman Show.
Folks, welcome back. I want again to thank E. Ethelbert Miller for that just fabulous last hour of conversation. There truly is so much more for us to talk about, and we will have him back again. I want to thank my staff for getting Ethelbert here, and Phaedra Parks and Dr. Melanye Maclin. Dr. Maclin was scheduled some time ago, but had an unfortunate accident and certainly kept her word and fought through her injury and came back to be with us. God bless you, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity again after I had that James Brown split.
Okay. Dr. Maclin is a dermatologist, a Howard University trained dermatologist. Not just, this ain't one of them fake doctor names. This is a real doctor, dermatologist. Let's just start here. What was the most surprising thing that you learned at the School of Dermatology?
Well, you know what,
as you were getting that degree.
And I have to start off by saying that I actually wanted to be a hairstylist when I was growing up. At the age of 13, I wanted to be a hairstylist, but my family was full of doctors and said, look, we do doctor degree first, and then you can do your hairstyling next. So I said in my mind early on that I knew that I wanted to, I'll be a hair doctor, because I wanted to be able to bring lots of information to the masses. And dermatology being a medical specialty of hair and skin and nails, I realized that there's a lot of us, our women of color, men of color, that can't get to a skin hair specialist. And in going through my training at Washington Hospital Center and seeing so many folks that really weren't able to get to the dermatologist, barely were able to let their insurance cover, I said, I've got to be able to reach more. My passion of dermatology has to extend to millions and not just a few hundred patients that would come in a particular area. So once I was able to take that passion and turn it into utilizing multimedia to be able to take that gift of and my passion of being able to get that information out about hair and skin to millions versus that few little hundred that may or may not be able to get to an office to see me somewhere. So my passion for dermatology stems very deeply. I was told, you may not be a dermatologist, Melanie. My father passed away Christmas of '90. I was freshman of Howard University College of Medicine. That was a very tough period, because here I was going from being a straight A student to making C's and D's, which was unacceptable in the medical school community. And they said, well, you may not get into your field of dermatology like you want, because that's a highly competitive field. And I said, you watch me. I'm going to get there and do it, because it was in my blood innately, I feel, to be able to transform all of this information about hair and skin and health and nails to the world.
Let's do this very, very basic. As in, we're talking to a child, or a child is out there listening and is hearing us say dermatologist. What does a dermatologist do?
A dermatologist is a medical doctor of hair, skin, and nails. So if that child has eczema, if that child has acne or fungus, ringworm, any sort of bacterial infection, anything that's on the skin. The skin is the largest organ in the body. We see it on the outside, but it manifests internally. So that child that sees some rash going on his skin, or his or her skin, that parent is going to need to take that child to a dermatologist, because the pediatrician, which is their child's normal well-care doctor, is not going to understand the specifics of skin or hair, because just because we see skin and hair on the outside, they're internal organs. So you've got to go to a specialist that understands what could be going on with my child internally, or what could be going on with that adult internally that's manifesting with skin issues or hair issues. So that's why it is a very difficult and highly competitive specialty to even get into, because you need to take your thought processes really deep and go a couple of levels of understanding yes, I see you have eczema, or I see you having hair loss. But I got to see inside your body to tell you why you may be having that. And honestly, that's my gift.
Wow.
I can talk to somebody on the phone, and they can tell me what's going on with them. Dr. Mack, I got this rash going on here. I got this hair loss issue. Boom. I didn't solve their problem, and they done been to 5 other clinical dermatologists. And I'm not disrespecting, of course, the clinic. There's a reason people have to get to be, to a clinical evaluation. But let's be real. A lot of us can't get to that clinical evaluation.
Inside these shoes that I have on right here, I got 10 toes.
Okay.
And I got a couple of big toes that's got they're hard, I'm clipping them and all of that. And it's some kind of fungus something.
Right.
What's going on inside of me?
Let's take off your shoes and put your foot up on the table. Okay, so there's a few things. Toenails are very common to get traumatized. Heck, they're in shoes all the time.
Yeah, let me tell you something. When I all the way through Little League and into junior high school and high school, until I got to Howard University, I was a back catcher. I played baseball and I was the catcher.
Okay.
And the foul tips used to come down and wear my toes out.
Okay.
I'm wondering if that might
a
whole lot of trauma.
A lot of trauma.
Yeah.
A lot of trauma, because when you talk about bilateral, which means both toes, if you're looking at both toes and you're saying the same thing going on both, it's probably from your shoe friction. Okay.
Later on in my life, I kicked a whole lot of ass too.
But we bring up a very good point. Fungus on the toenails is very common. And it's usually a cosmetic issue. It's usually where the toenail gets thickened, it's yellowish, it may be disfigured or whatever the case may be. It doesn't necessarily need to be treated. However, if someone is a diabetic, then those type of things, because fungus is an infection, okay? And diabetics it's poor healing. So you want to make sure that in a diabetic's case, if they're seeing fungus on the nails or toenails, that gets treated. So, but in your case, just go ahead on and keep wearing your fancy shoes. Nobody know the difference. I'm sure Dee Dee be okay with that.
She complains every now and then. I got a little puppy that doesn't mind at all.
I was going to say, Manny don't mind.
Let me just make this observation here on camera.
Okay.
To a dermatologist, your skin is beautifully flawless, and it looks absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Well, I do have to practice what I preach, but I do have my own issues.
Yeah, but I was going to say, if someone is going to come to me and talk about investing in something,
yes,
whatever it is they're asking me to invest in, I want to know that they invested in it also.
You're right.
And so it really does, Barry White.
Well, it's also my Bella Nutri.
Practice what you preach.
Yes.
You mentioned Bella Nutri. Let's talk about that.
I have 2 baby girls, Kayla and Selena, 8 and 11, but I also have 2 other children.
Okay.
That I took 5 years to develop, called Bella Nutri for women and Bo Nutri for men. Those are my pride and joy. I used to desire years ago to have my own product. And I knew that was going to be a challenge, not only from a research perspective, because I believe in putting out credible products. See, a lot of products in the marketplace, they just get a marketing company and put a whole bunch of hogwash and just sell it.
Right.
I'm not just about selling something. I'm about, if I'm not giving you the results of something that's stamped with my name, then I'm not going to be behind it. And that's where Bella Nutri and Bo Nutri, I did over 5 years of research and development towards finding critical nutrients that really target the skin and the hair. So hair loss issues, because my biggest tackle was conquering women of color and hair loss, because it's in such epidemic proportions. Somebody needed to do something about it.
We want to talk about that? Do we want to talk about women of color and black women in particular, and what it is that's causing that hair loss? We want to talk about that.
Yes.
But we'll go there in a minute.
Right, okay. So in general, Bella Nutri and Bo Nutri, they're internal nutrients. As I said, hair and skin are internal structures that manifest externally. So when you're looking for products, yes, there's a lot of topical products, but they cleanse and they moisturize the surface of the skin and the hair. The hair is just an external skin appendage, is what we call it. So hair is really skin. So the thing is, when you're seeing something on your skin and your hair, the way that you
when you see something,
when you visually see something on your skin or on your hair, or on your scalp, in order to really effectively get it back in order, you must do something internally. But I didn't want to have to give you a medicine for beauty, because really hair and skin, that's an image, it's a beauty thing, unless they were really having a true medical concern that needed a medication. See, medications are chemicals. So even though I'm a traditionally trained doctor from Howard University College of Medicine, I totally went down the natural alternative, because health and wellness is the #1 industry. And let's be real, people are now into the natural approach of things. People would, when I was at Hospital Center, give someone a prescription. They come back in 2 weeks, and I say, well, Miss Jones, how did that cream or whatever work out for you? She would reach in her purse. Oh, well, this what you wanted me to take? What I'm saying is that people will go to the doctors and get medicines, and they won't even use it. People want something natural. So I have solutions from a natural perspective that help with hair and skin and even just health, because I do a whole range of other development of products.
So Velanutra and Bonutra.
Right.
Tell us why they work. What is in them that make them work, that are beneficial to the people that might use them?
I had privy to doing research with folks from Finland back in the late 90s upon completion of my dermatology. And I had exposure to marine protein. Other countries get exposed to lots of nutrients well before we do here in the U.S. So I looked at that as a quite advantage.
It's always funny because by and large, Americans think we just got it going on.
We got it going on.
More than anybody else. They think we're ahead of the curve, and there's so many.
Man, I learned so much working with the chemists and nutritionists from Finland that the marine proteins I found were critical. And I saw how beneficial. So long story short, marine protein is the key, along with collagen.
And now you're saying marine protein, something from the water.
Exactly.
From the ocean.
Now that is proprietary information as far as what it is. But I had access to what that was, given that they wanted a dermatologist here in the U.S. to really focus in on marine protein for helping with hair issues at that point. And so I went on to study that with hair. So various forms of the marine protein collagen combination is helping not only with folks with hair thinning, hair loss, alopecia, folks that can't grow hair, because it's all about that combination of the marine protein and the collagen that's working internally, naturally, no side effects, that is helping those hair roots to get back in order, helping those skin cells to get healthier. So I've helped all kinds of folks with all kinds of issues that could never get to a dermatologist simply by being able to provide them with a product that I can put my stamp on, that I developed, and say, once you get on it, you also have that direct interaction with me. When you get on my product, you also have me. Because I'm not going to leave you. I want to know every month how you're doing, whether it's an email transaction or a phone call or whatever. So that feedback and how people are doing while they're on Velanutra or Bonutra is very important for me.
You know, I saw a picture. In September the 29th, 1980 was designated as Black College Day.
Okay.
Tony Brown was the journalist, was the leader of that, and I was involved. And I saw a picture of myself.
Okay.
And I had a big old curly hair, big old brown head of curly hair. And now we got this. So is that marine stuff that you're talking about?
Absolutely, it's going to get those hair follicles revived.
Any chance of going, heading back? I know we can't get all the way back there. Right. But any chance of heading back in that direction?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm going to be a project.
We're going to make sure you're going to get a stock of Bonutri very soon.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah, and then you'll be it turns back the hands of time as far as the way the skin looks, fine lines and wrinkles, scars, you name it. Because once
all of them.
Right. Once someone can transform their mindset into saying, look, if I really want to get my skin right or my hair right, it has to be internal. Once you make that transition internally and start doing things and, drinking your water and taking the appropriate vitamins and so forth, you clearly see a difference. All this topical stuff is for the birds. I use a bar Dove soap and that's about it.
That's interesting because I've been thinking about it. I seem like I feel something happening right now. Now, we're gonna go to a quick break, and this segment is sponsored by
Bella Nutria.
Bella Nutria. Yeah, that's what this segment of the Rock Newman Show is sponsored by. We'll take a quick break and come right back.
And now, The Rock Newman Show.
Folks, welcome back to The Rock Newman Show. Today's Saturday, January the 11th, 2014. My guest, dermatologist Dr. Melanye Maclin, hair and skin specialist. Now, let me tell you something. We just had a short break. We got a bunch of women and men in the studio. Now, something just happened. I just observed something. You know, when you say skin and hair, we're conditioned to think about women and their concerns and obsession with skin or hair. And here's what I'm going to tell you. 4 people came up, and they were all men, all up in Dr. Maclin's face, asking about their hair and beard and all the rest. So it ain't just about women that's obsessed. We just saw that.
We just saw that.
There's proof. There's proof. There was an experiment.
Right.
And that experiment just said that it ain't just women. Men are consumed also.
Exactly. And you know what? On that point, that is exactly why I brought out Bella Nutria in 2004. Mm-hmm. And because of the raves of questions that men were getting from my consultation toll-free phone lines, I said, I've got to get something for men. Mm-hmm. And that's when Bella Nutria emerged in 2008. Mm-hmm. So men in today's time are just as concerned about, they want to look good too. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, and they want to make sure they keep smooth skin and and keep hair on their head. Because a lot of guys that are walking around with no hair on their head, they may not tell you they don't want hair on their head, but they really want hair on their head. Because I get those calls in private. Dr. Mac, what are we going to do about this? We're going to get you on Bone Nutri. And let me tell you, they get on and they get in 6 and 12 months supply. No man is going to get that kind of supply if it's not working for them. And that was when I knew, boom, I have something magical for men as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you have... You've done a lot of stuff. I mean, people come to you as the expert. You know, I look at and totally admire somebody in the industry that took their platform from radio, from live appearances as a comedian. I'm talking about Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey has just, you talking about somebody that's actualized and blown up. Steve Harvey has blown up. Now, Steve consults with you, or you consult on Steve's program. How did that come about?
Oh, man, let me tell you. It started, actually, a girlfriend of mine was good friends with his whole team. This was back in 07, early part of 07. And I get a call at midnight. And it was from Steve's project manager who, and my girlfriend was on the line, and he wanted to do a line of hair care products. So she was seeking me out as the product developer for Steve's project manager. And that's how it all started, because we got to talking about product development and all that good stuff. And so he said, well, Steve is going to be in town that April for a show down at Constitution Hall. We're going to, when he comes to town, we're going to have dinner.
Right.
We did just that. And within 5 minutes of me sitting down, he's sitting right there, I'm sitting right here, and he looks at me, and my husband is sitting across from there, and he tells my husband, I don't mean any disrespect when I say this. He said, but your wife needs to be doing what I'm doing. And it was the biggest compliment in the world coming from him, with his accolades. And that started a great business relationship. Within like a month's time period, I was called to New York, thinking I was at BLS. It was the home quarters at that point. Thinking I was going there, they wanted to interview me. Just what kind of things are you doing? So I get to BLS and I do the interview, but Steve is reading my bio first.
Right.
And I was like, this is really weird. If he's supposed to be interviewing me, he shouldn't be talking about everything from my bio.
Right.
And then he says, I brought Dr. Maclin here to answer all of you all's hair and skin questions. The phone lines at BLS blew up.
Right.
It was bananas.
Right.
We stayed on those lines for a good hour and 15 minutes of just full straight skin and hair questions, like boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
And when I finished that segment, he walked me out and he was like, wow, this was one of our best segments. I must have you part of our team because I need for you to provide that information to our community. And I was like, done deal, grinning cheese, and got in that cab and cried like a baby all the way home because I said, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted, as I said earlier, I did not just want to wait for people to come to see me in a physical location. I wanted to take my knowledge of skin and hair to help millions of us because we weren't getting the help. So Steve allowed me that platform. I've been working with them ever since. I used to do every Monday for quite a few years, but I got heavy into my product development, and my vow to him was to also say, I'm going to answer emails. Oh my goodness, I get off a segment, because I go and do it right at HUR after a while. I would literally have over 1,000 emails. Wow. It was, I said, I can't do this to our people. I can't say that I'm going to help you, and I can't help you. I can't have an assistant because that's a confidentiality issue. So now I do Ask Dr. Mac segment on his Best Of show, which I can pre-record because I've got all these other projects going on. And then whenever they want me on live to talk about certain topics or whatever. So, and then I started taking care of his daughter. His daughter was in Atlanta, Brandy, one of the twins. That's how we really got to know him well. And she had, some series of acne issues, and she was into, fitness training and wanted just smooth, clear skin. Instead of going to someone in Atlanta, he said, no, I'm sending you to Dr. Maclin and let her do and take you where she wants you to do. This man put his child on the plane. I pick her up at BWI Delta Airlines every other Wednesday for 3 months. Pick her up, take her to my clinical partner, which is Dr. Deborah Coates, Walton and Bowie. Take her there. We do whatever. take her to lunch, put her back on the plane,
Wow.
and we did that for 3 months. Steve was, when I saw him and talked about it, he was always in tears. He was very excited.
Wow.
And he said, you took care of my family.
Got great results.
Yes,
Yeah.
great results.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, you were the lady in Good Hair, Bad Hair with Chris Rock with the red lipstick.
With the red lipstick, that was me.
How did that come about?
Oh, wow. That was a great experience. I got called at the 11th hour. My assistant called me and said, Dr. Maclin, you just got a call from HBO to talk about, for this Good Hair movie. I was like, wow, this is great. Once I talked to one of the executive producers later that afternoon, we literally were on a 3-hour interview. They had interviewed probably over 100 dermatologists at this point, but had heard me on Steve that morning talking hair. And they said, oh my goodness, we cannot close down whoever's going to be that expert in the film yet until we get to Dr. Maclin. And that's exactly what the executive producer told me. And she was like, Chris said, we got to get to her. Call me, had the interview, got a call, was like, look, we need you up in New York in 2 weeks. And sat down with Chris for, we sat down for 4 or 5 hours. I'm sitting smack dab in the front of all these bright lights and about 20 folks lined up in front of me. And me and Chris just going forward, just all kind of information. Just a great interview overall. And I mean, it was, that movie had so much controversy.
Yeah.
You know, it did, because it was like, it was dispelling some of our little hidden sort of secrets, if you will. But I thought it was needed because chemical relaxers is a big issue. And if you recall, if anyone has seen the film, I spoke clearly on, we must avoid chemical relaxers in these children. We cannot be that addicted to our child having straight hair and messing up their hair and future health for life.
Right.
Come on now, we can start talking about that could be abuse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was that was like the start of really what's happening now, because now I'm on this real national mission.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, to some extent, it's always had an element of absurdity to me that people would talk about, oh, she got good hair, she got bad hair.
Right.
I mean, and I don't know how much it happens in other communities, but in the black community, that's prevalent.
Oh, absolutely.
She got good hair. I don't want to be with her because she got bad hair, and it's just, there's a certain absurdity to that.
Yes, and that still exists highly still to this day. But I think more and more women of color are embracing the natural hair, meaning unchemically processed hair. Okay, because you can have natural hair and still flat iron it to straighten it and do whatever. But to take the chemicals away from being on the hair to keep the hair in its natural curly state, a lot of women now are embracing that. And I applaud. I mean, because you have to stand up for, at the end of the day, it's about your health.
Right.
Because the chemical relaxers, they serve a purpose, but for heaven's sake, if you seen your head go bald,
right,
and you still putting this harsh hydroxide on your scalp, what are you doing?
Yeah. Okay. So let's go here. So the parents that want to have their little girls looking pretty. First of all, let me just share this that was somewhat depressing. I went to there's a mom's grocery store in Waldorf, Maryland, and my wife went into that store. I had my little puppy, so I'm trying to find different things to do. So I'm walking up and down, just trying to kill the time. And I actually walked into a hair care store, and of course it was Asian owned, and everybody seemed behind the counter for the most part.
Right.
Were Asians, and it was filled with black people. And this, what I'm assuming was a black mother, looked like she was maybe in her late 20s or early 30s, had a little, what looked like 7, 8-year-old girl. And she was telling her how pretty she could look if she got some of this, if she let her buy some of this hair. And I was depressed. I mean, I thought that was...
Oh, absolutely.
I thought that was depressing.
And the little girl was depressed, too.
Yeah.
You didn't even know it.
So for what's being planted there. Okay, so that's one thing. let's talk about the damage that is done. In what is some typical things that black families are doing to their daughters, trying to straighten their hair and all of whatever else is done.
Right.
Let's kind of go fundamental 101 there.
Right. It's a lot. But the key is it's the hydroxide chemical. And I want people to understand that chemical is whether it's sodium hydroxide, which is in lye relaxers, calcium or guanine hydroxide, which is in no-lye relaxers. What's the common denominator? Hydroxide. That chemical actually burns through the keratin protein. Keratin protein is what makes up your hair and your skin. And particularly in hair for the chemical processing, it's breaking the sulfur bonds. It's the sulfur bonds that causes the curl pattern. So the more and more that you can break those sulfur bonds, the straighter the hair can permanently get, because it's a permanent break in the bond. So when these parents are putting on this hydroxide for the beauty effects, they're not realizing the harsh, damaging health effects that they're doing to their child. It's just because they're not doing it because they want to hurt the child.
Yeah, of course.
They're doing it because they're trying to have their child to conform to
and
this thing. There's a certain image that they want their child to conform to or whatever, but they just don't know what damage they're really doing.
And what damage are they doing?
Well, there's a common pattern in women of color where the top of the scalp that looks like male pattern balding, that starts in a small little circle and then it expands in a
in this area
in the top.
Okay.
And then it can just expand in a circular pattern to almost encompass the entire top of the scalp.
Yeah.
It's called follicular degeneration syndrome. Follicular just means follicle, which means root. Degeneration means exactly that, degenerating, dying off.
Right.
So basically the roots are dying off from the chronic constant use of the hydroxide. If you think about this, every 6 to 8 weeks, a woman is going to get a relaxer. So every 6 to 8 weeks, she's getting exposed to what? Hydroxide. So every 6 to 8 weeks, those roots are doing what? Dying off, boom, popping, and waiting to feel that burn.
Yeah.
The burn means your nerves have been activated in that scalp. Just because you want to feel the burn to get your hair straight, but you're getting that burn and killing your roots at the same time. Which one you want?
Yeah.
So it's just because people just don't know. So the hair loss is occurring. Then also one of the even larger links that's going on that I actually, made speculation years ago is a whole link to fibroids in women of color.
And that was something.
Oh my goodness!
And doing research about what you do, when I just tiptoed up on the potential. And I don't know if it's been further confirmed or not, but the potential between some of these hair products and the reproductive system. And, it's a controversial issue because some people still don't want to believe it. But I'm going to tell you right now, I've done over 70,000 hair loss cases, and I can confirm it. I personally talked to that many people about the history of what's going on with their relaxer use, the hair loss use, and part of my hair loss questionnaire is to ask you, how is your iron? Because low iron is common for hair shedding. Okay. Well, the majority of women have said, "Oh yeah, well, Dr. Maclin, I have low iron. My doctor got me on iron pills, but I don't like taking them." And I'm saying, why are so many women telling me they got low iron? Because the body has truly enough iron stores in it. Okay.
So something is going on, and we know women bleed during that time of the month, so they must be really bleeding. So this don't even sound right. And I have a good buddy who specializes in OBGYN, who specializes in fibroids, and I would say, Dr. Kelly, let's check this out. Your patient that you're seeing with fibroids, check that scalp out. Tell me what that looks like. You don't got to ask them. Just, get back to me. Let me know. And he was like, Mel, I think you on to something. And I just kept it at bay for years. I didn't even talk about it. I said, but when that research came out in 2012 from Boston University researchers, and they had done over 20,000, some cases 30,000, and there was a confirmed link. I said, being a hair loss expert for 15 years, there's no way I can't say anything about this. Now I have some information further to back me up.
Right.
But it's been a challenge because our black folks don't want to hear what I got to say. And I said, well, you know what? It's okay because I'm going to go out here and protect my baby girls out here.
Right.
It's okay, mother, that you want to keep killing your roots or whatever, because I'm not saying no to chemical relaxers. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not trying to shut down the chemical relaxer industry. But what I am trying to do is to get folks more educated in what they're doing, because there's no regulations on all these chemicals that's on the store shelves. There's none of that. Now, that might change because I'm working on that too. Because we need to know, just like on the back of a cigarette, it's like there's the disclaimer
the warning,
there.
right.
There's no warning on these harsh chemicals. So I have started this national initiative to really protect the children. Chemical-free curls until sweet 16 for healthier girls.
Okay, so the mother that is listening now is like,
Yes.
oh my God.
Yes.
I did not know. I don't want to do that to my daughter anymore. I still want her to look pretty and have pretty curls.
Yes.
If that's what you want.
And she can still do that.
Tell me how.
There's don't believe the word texturizers.
What do they do?
They basically you can train your hair with heat. That's number one. Number one is no chemical. And don't even use the word texturizer just because it got the pretty kid back. So no texturizer, no relaxer. Heat is great. Press and comb, flat iron. And there's so many natural products out here that have a smoothing agent to the hair. And if a mother is washing her daughter's hair weekly and doing the flat iron, that hair is going to eventually be trained to stay straight. But it's not permanently straight, nor is it affecting the roots inside her little baby girl's hair.
Not permanently straight, meaning that.
Right. It's not the chemical. See, chemical is a permanent relaxer, permanent hair straightening.
Right.
Heat is non-permanent. And people will say, oh, well, I don't want to use heat on my hair because it's just going to damage it. Well, I'd rather for you to use the heat than the hydroxide.
Okay, so we got this little 10-year-old girl here who washes her hair, and it gets kinky and all of that. It's clean.
Okay. Get a good ceramic flat iron and put no product on that hair and take small. Mother has to have patience. Take time with your children. Sit down, go through small sections and flat iron that out. Or take her to a natural hairstylist that's going to be able to do it for her. But it's all about the mother taking time with the child. Does that sound harsh on mothers? Yeah, mothers need to step up to the plate. And if they see their child wanting to have a better controlled hairstyle, they need to take control of that. And if they can't do it, that's why it's called hairstylists out there. You know?
So now the idea of, this is interesting because, I dated in high school and through college a sister that was very, very dark. And her sisters were very, very dark.
Okay.
And I'm hearing you say flat iron, and I'm remembering walking in the house sometime and, sort of smelling the flat iron. When she was 18 years old, she had pretty hair and all kind of different styles. If I look in my a yearbook right now, you kind of see her hair curled all to this day. She and her sisters have healthy heads of hair.
They kept the chemical away, yes. And once again, I'm not trying to say chemicals for no one. If a woman is a woman past the age of 16 is the line that I use, because by the time your body has gotten, the reproductive system is in order. But if a woman is not having health issues or scalp issues, then it's okay. But coat that scalp clearly with a heavy layer of white petroleum jelly or base. Because a lot of these box perms got to the thing, oh, you don't have to base the whole scalp, you just have to base the edges. Oh, well, Lord have mercy, that led to a whole nother epidemic of black women and hair loss. Because here we putting the same hydroxide now on fresh scalp that has no base on it. Because these companies said, oh, that's their marketing hook. You don't have to base the whole scalp this time. Right. You just put it around the edges because we got the no-lie relaxer. Right. And that created a whirlwind of issues.
So part of what we're doing here is we're ringing an alarm bell to say,
yes,
it's not just your hair on your babies that you are affecting. You are affecting their reproductive health.
Yes, and I didn't explain how that happens. The hydroxide chemical is very harsh. It absorbs through the scalp, through the keratin protein, Okay, if you recall back to the Chris Rock movie when with the chemist and the can and showing what the hydroxide can do, that is basically what that's doing to your hair and to your scalp. So basically, once it's getting inside the scalp, the nerves have become activated. Now, the nerves and the arteries, the blood vessels run neck and neck in the body. So now the theory is that the hydroxide is able to penetrate the bloodstream. And then basically being able to stimulate hormone disrupting chemicals. So the hormones in these baby girls and adults, or the girls at the earlier age have gotten adversely affected and started, causing the uterine growths, which are the fibroids. Yeah, fibroids can happen in women of any color, true enough, but it's very rare, but it's in the black women.
And so you're being a hair care specialist and talking to your gynecologist friends and all of that. You started to connect those dots.
Yes.
Then, what did you say, 2012?
I just didn't publicly speak on it because I said I can't be the only one out here because I may be,
You didn't feel you weren't certain at that point.
I wasn't certain, but I was making a really great connection there.
And now you feel as if you are certain.
Oh, I'm certain now. Oh, I know.
The study has come out from Boston.
The study had came out for Boston. And then I told my publicist, I said, look, we've got to go on a mission here. This is such critical information. It's critical. And I said, look, if I can do anything, when we take that Hippocratic oath, when I stood there on Crampton Auditorium stage, and the first one is first, do no harm. If I know something that's doing harm, it's my due diligence to get out there and spread the word. If not, what am I doing? Why did I become a doctor? So when I'm getting, because I've gotten a lot of roadblocks, you understand. I've got a lot of people we don't want to talk about this because, we're going to mess up the advertising dollars. Well, you know what? No advertiser spending money on chemical relaxers ads anyway. So let's put that aside and let's take time now to get this information out there. And those people that have opened the doors, great. Folks like yourself, but I've gotten a whole lot of closed doors on this issue.
A lot of pushback.
Yeah, but it's okay.
When I hear you talk about these relaxers, and by and large we're talking about women, but it makes me think back to looking and watching the movie on Malcolm X.
Okay.
When he was doing his process.
Yeah, that happens in men too, yes.
Yeah, and it stayed on too long, and his hair was like on fire. That's that lye stuff that you're talking about. That's a part of it.
It's still a hydroxide. The hydroxide chemical is in depilatories from, like the hair removal, all of those, because it is an agent that's able to dissolve the keratin protein. So it's dissolving the layer of skin on the skin as well as the scalp to be able to get in there to just kind of break up those sulfur bonds of the follicle. So that same process that men, because that's where I got a lot of men that have issues. They've got scarring on their scalp as a result of using lots of the conk, the products. And so, and it's a similar method that's used in a lot of men that use like the creams to shave. That's a big issue.
If y'all under 30, you might not know what a conk is. You just might not know. But conks came with zoot suits and
right. But had to have that straight hairstyle. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
So this is a major issue, and I'm on a mission. I have to give ups to my girl Jamie Foster Brown because she allowed the first article to come out that I had written about this issue in the October Sister to Sister magazine. And that was in October of just this 2013.
I love Jamie Foster Brown, so you can shout out Sister to Sister magazine on this show anytime, I can tell you that.
Yeah, she's just good people. And she said, look, because she's all about protecting the baby girls. She comes over and she loves hanging with our baby girls all the time. Right. And she says, look, Melanie, if this is an issue affecting our girls, we've got to do something about it. We got to get this information out. Yeah. So a lot of irons are in the fire about really, Raycom News Network did a big interview with me that came out in November, a big write-up about this whole issue. So as we approach into the new year, a lot more people are saying, wait a minute, we got to really spread this because it's newsworthy.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about wheeze.
Okay.
It seems as if there is a proliferation of wheeze, and I don't even know all the names of the stuff that that are used.
Right. It's all different variations of
extensions and all of the rest. And there are psychological components to that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But again, in reading some of what you've done,
mm-hmm.
some of these weaves that are put in
are causing damage.
Are also damage. Also, tell us about that.
Yes, I mean, weaves in general are not a bad thing if you know why you're getting a weave. If a woman is having clear hair loss issues and she wants to keep her image in order, yes, a weave is appropriate for her with sew-in weave, not the glue. All this glue stuff, that's the worst thing since I don't know what. Whoever came up with putting glue on the scalp and on the forehead to glue something down, that created all kind of issues. So weaves are okay when done properly, okay? And when you understand why you are doing it. A lot of folks in Hollywood, they do it because they want their hair to look, they may have a whole lot of hair, and they may want their hair to be protected because they know they're dealing with the daily wear and tear of curling irons, getting fixed up for camera. A lot of the newscasters do it because they're in front of the camera all the time, and you don't want to look frizzy or whatever. So as long as you go into why you're doing it, and then make sure that you're doing it properly in a healthy fashion. Right. Once again, braiding it down, braiding the own hair down, making sure that the braid is not done too tightly because that can create friction on the hair root. So then when you go to get your hair taken out and the weave come out, you got a whole lot of hair comes out with it. Right. So there's just proper ways that it should be done. And no, I'm not in agreement with the whole lace issue because you're using glue to affix that lace because they use the word lace so it can have a natural look along the hairline. But it creates allergic contact dermatitis, which is a type of eczema that can occur along the forehead and along the scalp. So a lot of issues that can occur. And then also...
So when you talk about lace, what is that?
That's like they use a lace barrier to have the hair on so that when you look at the part, it looks natural. Like if you look, because it's not their own natural part, it's just a part or it's close to the scalp for it to look natural. So it has a lacy pattern that gives the scalp color or whatever the case may be. But the bottom line is the glue that's on there is a problem that's used to put it on there.
So black women that do this, everybody wants to look good. They try to understand whatever anybody's standard of definition of good is. I see sisters that's got sort of the long flowing hair that whether it be and you see them twirling and
it that becomes a psychological thing. You're right.
Doing all that kind of stuff. And to me there is a direct connection, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong about this, but that feeling better about themselves because their standard of beauty is white women. Yeah,
exactly. You just laid it out. We have this whole European sort of thing, ideal that we're going for, and it's by any means necessary to get to that point. And that is it's starting, that mentality is starting way in these younger years. I mean, you're seeing girls in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade coming to school with weaves.
See, when I was in that hair care store and that mother was telling this woman how much prettier she could look, that's what, I mean, it wasn't so much the physical there is the psychological.
It is, but it's
what you're saying, how much prettier you can look, meaning you ain't pretty enough as you naturally are.
Right. And see, we get brainwashed by what we see in the media. We get brainwashed by what we see on TV and all these reality shows, and everybody's trying to look like the next best celebrity and figure out how they're going to achieve that look. And at the same time, you're adversely affecting the psyche. The mindset is all messed up. Yeah. So this mother's mindset is completely messed up because she sees beauty from what she sees on TV and how it's supposed to be, and was like, ooh, maybe we can do that to you, baby girl, or whatever, not knowing the adverse effects that psychologically things that she's doing to her own girl and not knowing. Yeah. Because she's just all, that's just, but what her mentality on this is quite common. It's unfortunate, but that's what most women think. And so that's why a lot of mothers are on this mission to do whatever they can to keep their little girls' hair straight and so forth and so on. But This is why I'm very happy about a lot of women embracing natural hair. And once again, at least chemical-free hair is what I call natural hair, because you can still straighten natural hair without it being so damaging.
You know, I'm going to do something my wife might want to slap me when I get home for doing it.
Uh-oh.
Because she is in the final stages of finishing a book
Okay.
that talks about a paradigm shift in redefining beauty to what beauty really is.
Okay.
And that beauty is from within.
It is from within.
I can't wait for her.
Outer beauty is reflection of an inner you. True beauty begins within. That is my Bella Nutri motto.
Yeah. I can't wait until, I mean, she asked me to proof it.
Okay.
And over the last couple of weeks, I've done that, and I mean, I was shocked beyond belief about the wisdom that is in there, and sort of the natural way that she has cared for herself, and how she's attempting to impart that information to the masses.
Very good.
Through, because she feels a deep, like what you are expressing. She feels a need to express that, and she does it in a way that I think is so very relatable.
Okay.
And she sort of says, here's what Madison Avenue and here's what Hollywood has established. And that really is not real.
Not right. It's not real. It's not right.
Real. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, we were all born with certain genetics. We're all look different, and you're supposed to embrace you looking different from the next person.
Right.
But if you walk around trying to look like everybody else, what makes you different?
Right.
I just believe in everyone having their own unique style and embracing it, whether it's the curliest, kinkiest hair. All hair is good hair as long as it's healthy. And so I teach you about how to keep.
You know what? That fundamental right there. See, to me, that fundamentally is what the message should be to everybody.
Everybody. Yeah.
Say it again.
All hair is good hair
as long as it's
healthy.
Right.
But people don't know what that healthy part means, and that's what I've been out on this journey. Because most people, when they think about hair, they go to who? The hairstylist.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mean any disrespect about this, but hairstylists.
Ain't no sacred cows around here. Yeah.
Hairstylists may only have had a 9th grade education to be able to get their hairstyling license. They don't know anything about the science in deep regards or medical issues that pertains to hair and so forth.
And
they
so
just don't learn that in the schools.
Burning people up.
Oh, my goodness. This is why I'm on this mission big time with trying to get some FDA regulations with the whole chemicals, because the chemicals are in the hands of these hairstylists that have no clue about the pathology of skin and hair. Scalp is skin. When you're a hairstylist, you shouldn't just know about hair. You should know about the scalp, which is the skin, and that's what they're not doing.
Right. So now you say you're on a journey to get some regulations. I can imagine.
Oh, I'm on a mission.
I can imagine.
I'm gonna knock the doors down.
Well,
they're gonna be tired of me.
I'm about to say, I can see the FDA being the graveyard, and you're whistling real loud, but ain't nobody listening.
That's okay. One of my classmates is within the FDA. We're gonna get this done. And we're going to have to get it done.
What do you want to accomplish?
I want to be able to at least have a disclaimer. I think we're doing my mothers and folks an injustice if we don't say this is what can happen. Not just don't use if you have an abrasion or this, that, and the other. No, this is what this can cause. We should not use this in under X amount of age. Same thing they've done for nicotine and the cigarettes and alcohol and everything else. It should just have it should be mandated that there be a disclaimer on these chemical relaxer products and the damaging effects. But it's damaging who? Who uses the relaxers?
Yeah.
Us.
Yeah.
Most folks don't care about us. Get it?
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
Right.
Oh, I really get it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why, because I care about us, I'm just trying to break through barriers of what needs to be done, because they really don't care what's being done to us, but eventually it just has to get done.
What kind of reaction have you gotten from those that are within the FDA and the government who can make a difference? I mean, because obviously we're talking about needing to get, laws changed,
laws changed.
Well,
I'm in the process now of assimilating a great team. So it's coming into fruition.
Right.
So it hasn't got to the point, okay, we're at the FDA knocking on the doors yet, but you've got to have your plan. Everything has to start with a plan.
Sure.
So this is why when all that research came out about what the relaxers are doing from a reproductive health issue, I said, okay, well, we need to take baby steps first.
Right.
I need to start writing about this more.
Yeah.
If I'm this person out here talking about hair,
Yeah.
I'm the medical director of hair and skin for Hype Hair magazine, which is one of the largest black hair magazines. I was like, I've got to start getting this information out there. Now I have now I have enough media that I've talked about this enough to then take that information and say, okay, look, this is what is already out there. The Steve Harvey interview, the Sister to Sister magazine interview, the Raycom News Media, and then a whole slew of other people that are interested in discussing the issue. So once I can line up all of that, then now I have enough leverage of PR along with your show saying it's been discussed. And to let them know this is something that's very much needed, because they may not really know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just all about bringing it to the forefront.
Oh, I put it, and when you talk
they might not be against it, they just don't know about it yet.
And when you're talking about mothers and the care for their daughters, it's like this. If you're uninformed, if you're ignorant, you make ignorant choices.
Right.
I often say, I have an antique car that I just love. I just love this car. But if I tried to change the oil in the car, I guarantee you I'll blow up the engine because I don't know how to do it.
Yes.
Because so I don't have that education. I don't have that inclination.
Right.
And so part of what you're doing is, and what I see to be an invaluable education. And I really wanted to get you on our show because part of what we try to do, our mission here is try to make a positive difference one conversation at a time. And honest to God, Dr. Mac, you fit into that because I just instinctively know from living that there is so much damage that is being done.
Yes.
And you're trying to be the police to arrest.
I'm bridging that gap.
To arrest that damage.
They're doing stuff, but they're doing stuff because they just don't know that it's wrong or that it's not being done properly. So we can't blame the mothers out there or the people out there, because they're thinking innocent and ill-informed. Absolutely. So that's why I'm on this mission to get as much information out there as much as possible. And because at the end of the day, it's first do no harm.
Yeah.
So if I got this information that I know is harming your baby girl or you, I need to do my job on being able to reveal that information.
Thank you
much.
So
boom, that's me.
Thank you. Thank you much
for
being on the Rock Newman Show.
Yes, I appreciate you.
Just understand you have a platform here because it's an important matter that you're dealing with. Folks, thanks so much for joining us for this first show of the year. We'll keep you informed via Facebook and Twitter about all the great plans that's happening with the Rock Newman Show for 2014. We got a couple secrets that we're holding on to right now, but we're going to be sharing them in the not too distant future. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll be back at you soon. Take care. God bless.